thoughts on using downtown as a possible arena location?
Well, before I was mayor, I would have always liked to see an arena downtown. And now that I am mayor, I would still like to see an arena downtown if it does not happen at Cal Expo. But that's just me kind of wishful thinking. It's a little bit more complicated process than that. So for me, you know, I'm a former player, and I don't talk about this a whole lot, but as a former player, I lived in Phoenix when there was no arena downtown. And I also was a part of a team that helped bring an arena downtown. And to see how that can galvanize a downtown community. Phoenix was a ghost town, much worse than Sacramento. Once they put an arena downtown, if you go to downtown Phoenix now, I think our first year was 1993. So if you look at what has transpired over the last 16 years, it's a whole new downtown because the catalytic impact that the arena had downtown. Also, as a player, I've traveled to Denver, Colorado. I've seen what arenas have done downtown there. I've seen it in Pittsburgh. I've seen it in San Diego. I just came from there recently. So all over the country, the arenas that go downtown are not only huge in terms of the downtown development and the economic kind of multiplier effect, but it also, from our vantage point, would potentially create a world-class downtown. And that's something that I think will be exciting, but it's a lot more complicated than that.
If I could do a follow-up on that, aren't those cities, don't they have larger downtown areas than, say, Sacramento is, because we have between our skyscrapers and then the residential part of downtown? What would that impact just the infrastructure of traffic and congestion, which we already have already?
Well, I mean, you have to be smart in terms of growth. What we don't want to have in Sacramento is much more building out and urban sprawl. We want to build up rather than out. The rail yards, just by way of an example, is one of the largest infill projects in the country. And they have to be managed smart. I mean, there's a green line that's going right there. Public transportation is a critical component, and I think Sacramento is very well aware of that. To your other point, Denver is similar in size to Sacramento, just generally speaking, and they didn't always have what they have today. San Diego is their downtown area in terms of geographic area is very similar. They're 24 by 24 blocks. We're very similar to that. So in terms of, you know, acreage, the geography is very similar to San Diego. San Diego is much further advanced than we are when it comes to housing, to your point. But part of our overall strategy when we talk about Westfield, the JKL corridor, is how we kind of revitalize the JK and the Westfield Mall. What role does retail play? What role does office play? What role does housing play? All those are part of kind of key factors that we have to look at, and certainly I think we'll get there if downtown is a site that is considered in the end.
Another question, relative to your earlier point on business development, you may be aware that there's a new citizens group that's forming to oppose or complain about the Nestle water move to Sacramento, called Save Our Water Sacramento. And they're alleging, among other things, that the company will be given unlimited access to water through Sacramento's water rights, and that the city has sought no public input and performed no environmental impact as to the amount of water being taken out of the river. I'm just wondering, and they're complaining the city is not being open and transparent on this. Any thoughts about the Nestle's deal, especially since they just failed in a 6-year battle to take water out of the Shasta area? Yeah,
so I held a town hall meeting, I believe it was last week in District 4, and a lot of these Nestle advocates came to the town hall and they, you know, posed the same question to me. So I told them that I would look into it. Certainly we as a city want to be transparent and we don't want to ignore it, and I think water conservation is very important for us as individuals, for us as a city. And if there are laws or ordinance in place where corporations can come in and there's no limit on what they do and have access to all of our water rights, that is something that we should look at. So certainly what I told them is we'll look at and try to get more information on it and be a lot smarter about it.
Okay, so there's no done deal with Nestle's? Have they, for example, we understand they're already moving into
out in the 65th.
Yeah.
area, so that.
In one of those industrial parks, have they already been licensed in Sacramento? Is this a
I
done
don't,
deal?
I don't have that information. Again, that's something that the city manager has. I don't have that information. So what I would do is kind of look into it with the city manager's office, see where we are along in that process. Is there anything we can do? And are those people who are believing that Nestle is getting a better than fair deal in this particular case when it comes to our water rights, is that in fact true? And if it is, then there's something we can do about it. I don't have that answer yet, so we're looking into that. All right, thank you.